With 3 days left until our wedding anniversary, my husband, who had always hated the sea, suggested we go on a cruise. I frowned. Looking at the text message on my phone, I had a strange feeling that something was wrong. I dialed his number and asked him directly, "Don't you hate the sea? Why the sudden urge to go on a cruise?" On the other end, Lewis paused for a second before replying nonchalantly, "What? Weren't you the one always nagging to go? Now that I'm taking you, you're questioning me. If you don't want to go, I'll just cancel it. Just don't whine in my ear about it next time." My doubts subsided, and I quickly agreed. But the next second, my phone received a video. In the private room in the video, someone was shouting out bets. "I bet 10 million that on the cruise in 3 days, Lewis will get on one knee and propose to Liu Qingqing. Gu Zhai will definitely pass out from crying." My fingers trembled as I held the phone, still trying to process it. Then, someone else in the video chimed in with a mocking laugh. "Lewis, what do you think of that bet? In 3 days, you propose to Liu Qingqing right in front of Gu Zhai. Let's see how she reacts. For the stakes, how about we make Gu Zhai, 6 months pregnant, perform a swimsuit show in the ocean for us?" "Ha ha ha, I like it. I'm in, I'll bet 20 million. In the video, the bets kept piling up. My fingers clenched as I saw a familiar figure through the thick smoke. "All right, I'm in." I didn't hear the rest. I turned off my phone and collapsed onto a hospital chair, unable to believe that Lewis would cheat on me. Liu Qingqing. Was that the woman's name? A bitter taste filled my mouth. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again with an even older video. In the same private room, someone was laughing as they asked Lewis, "Lewis, you've been flying to the US to see Liu Qingqing every week for 2 years. Hasn't Gu Zhai gotten suspicious? And isn't Liu Qingqing super possessive? Aren't you afraid Gu Zhai will find the marks she leaves on you?" Lewis took a drag from his cigarette, a smirk on his lips. "That's why I got Gu Zhai pregnant. I don't have to touch her for a year, so how could she possibly find out? Once Gu Zhai gives birth to an heir, I'll get a vasectomy. It's so much better without a condom." The video ended. I clapped a hand over my mouth and threw up. I suddenly realized that the man I had been married to for 3 years might have been rotten for a long time. Numbly, I returned to our villa. I don't know how long I sat in the living room before Lewis came back, reeking of alcohol. He hugged me tightly from behind, his body carrying the pungent scent of a woman's perfume. "Gu Zhai, did the baby give you any trouble today? I've arranged everything for our anniversary cruise. You've always wanted to go to the sea, haven't you? Are you happy?" Lewis's voice whispered in my ear. My body went rigid as I thought of their bet. 3 years and you're still this shy." Lewis chuckled, placed a box of pastries in my hand, and went into the bathroom. As the sound of the shower started, I opened the box. It was a new mango-flavored dessert from Sweet Treats. But I'm severely allergic to mangoes. 3 years, and he still couldn't remember. I threw the pastries in the trash. Without any more hesitation, I stood up and retrieved a black box from the depths of the closet. Inside was an agreement Grandpa Lee had left for me before he passed away. I signed my name on it and called Lawyer Fu. "Uncle Fu, I've changed my mind. I've already signed the agreement. I've sent you a picture. But can we wait to make the contents public until 3 days from now? 3 days from now, our wedding anniversary. Since Lewis was using me in a bet, I would give him a gift of my own." After hanging up, I photographed the agreement and sent it to Uncle Fu. Suddenly, a text message popped up. It was a screenshot of a social media post. "I've graduated. Lewis, do you dare to divorce her and marry me?" In the comments, the first like and comment was from Lewis. "I'll divorce her. Do you dare to marry me?" Staring at the post, I realized it must have been from Liu Qingqing. Nausea churned in my stomach. I gripped my phone tightly as more photos suddenly appeared. A kinky-looking hotel room, littered with used condoms. "Lewis paid his dues to me this week, sis. You can take a good long rest. No need to thank me. After all, I'm here to take your place. I'm coming back to the country in 3 days. You'd better watch out, sis." Reading Liu Qingqing's messages made me sick. I covered my mouth, dry heaving, then exited the messages and contacted Jingbei's top private investigation agency. "Please help me investigate someone." I typed out Liu Qingqing's name, but the next second, a rejection message came back. "Are you Mrs. Lee? We have orders from above not to take your cases." Jingbei's top PI agency refused to investigate. It was obvious whose doing that was. I clenched my phone, no longer asking them to investigate Liu Qingqing. Instead, I sent a text to my best friend. "Why, help me contact a PI agency. Use your name and get me access to this group chat's messages." I sent her the group chat of Lewis and his buddies. Soon I was in. Lewis wasn't in this group, but the messages were constantly updating. Anyone who wants to see Gujai in a bikini, hurry up and place your bets. Last chance, minimum bet is 1 million per person. I stared at the messages, my face devoid of expression. As I scrolled up, my heart suddenly lurched. I stared in disbelief at the next few messages, my vision blurring with black spots. Holy shit, Lewis actually gave the matching heart for Gujai's brother to Liu Qingqing. Gujai's brother is already on the operating table, cut open. Without a heart, isn't he done for? I thought Lewis actually liked Gujai a little. I can't believe Liu Qingqing just had to ask, and he gave away the heart they'd been searching for a year. These messages felt like a rope tightening around my neck. I couldn't breathe. It felt like the blood in my veins had frozen solid. Tears streamed down my face as I numbly shut off my phone. The day of my brother's surgery, I waited outside the operating room for 10 hours. In the end, the doctor came out, covered in blood, and told me there had been a problem with the heart donation. My brother didn't make it. I cried until I was hoarse. Lewis rushed over. He held me tightly, telling me he would always be with me from now on. He said we could have a child and build a happy family together. After my brother died, I couldn't eat. He cooked for me personally, making porridge and feeding it to me spoonful by spoonful. At that time, I gave up on the agreement Grandpa Lee had given me, wanting to stay by Lewis's side. How laughable. The heart that was meant for my brother was taken by him. I clutched my stomach and ran to the bathroom, vomiting until I was empty. My fingers trembled as I searched through various social media accounts. Finally, I found Liu Qingqing on Weibo. A year ago, on the day of my brother's surgery, she had posted an update, doing a good deed today, giving a heart to someone who needs it. The accompanying photo was of an 80-year-old beggar. He had my brother's heart, tubes sticking out of him everywhere. Tears burst from my eyes. My head throbbed as if an axe was splitting it open. Lewis, how could you do this? I gritted my teeth and forced myself to stand. Suddenly, my phone rang. Gujai, I regret it. This time, I want you and the child. The man's voice on the phone was obsessive, yet tinged with a hint of humility. I didn't refuse. I wiped my tears. I agree to be with you, but I need you to do me a favor. 3 days passed quickly. After I boarded the Chi family's luxury cruise ship with Lewis, he kept checking his phone. It rang again. He frowned, a hint of irritation in his eyes. Gujai, I need to take this call. Wait for me here. With that, he strode away. I stood where I was and opened the group chat on my phone. In the chat with Lewis's friends, the bets were still climbing. The rich kids and heirs of Jingbei, relying on their family backgrounds, never cared about money or resources. The pot grew and grew, with properties and luxury cars being thrown in. They were all betting that when Lewis proposed to Liu Qingqing, I would threaten to kill myself, begging him not to leave me. Someone even said he would be willing to take me off Lewis's hands, make me his mistress. I remained anonymous in the group, saying nothing, only placing a 1 million bet of my own. Today was my 3rd wedding anniversary with Lewis. The bet was about to be settled. I exited the group chat and opened Liu Qingqing's Weibo again. Her latest post was from 3 minutes ago. She had boarded the cruise and filmed a video in her room. The Mr. Lewis who sponsored my studies is going to propose today. I'm so nervous, what should I do? Of course, I have to relieve the tension in a special way. In the comments, everyone was asking what position she would use to distress, saying they wanted to see too. The post quickly gained traction. I smiled and added fuel to the fire. Are mistresses this brazen nowadays? My husband's name is also Lewis. How come I didn't know he was proposing today? As soon as my comment was posted, Liu Qingqing's fans began to attack me indiscriminately. Who the hell are you? Trying to leech off our goddess Qingqing's fame. Our Qingqing's boyfriend is from the Li family, one of Jingbei's wealthiest circles. Your husband is probably some stinking food delivery guy. Exactly, this woman probably has a fantasy disorder. She's just jealous that Qingqing has such a high-quality boyfriend. So disgusting. The abusive comments piled up. I smiled and posted a photo of the luxury cruise ship in the comment section. Do I need to fantasize? After typing those words, I turned off my phone. Based on Liu Qingqing's post, I quickly found her room. Standing outside the door, I called Lewis. A familiar ringtone sounded from inside the room. A few seconds later, it was silenced. Having confirmed his location, I turned and walked away. An hour later, Lewis returned. Trailing behind him was a flushed-faced Liu Qingqing. Sister-in-law, why is there a woman following Lewis? Take a guess what their relationship is. A few of the rich kids stared at me with malicious eyes. I remained expressionless until Louis walked up to me. Gu Zhai, this is Lu Qingqing, the student I sponsored. She graduated this year, so I brought her along to see the world. Before Louis could finish, I stood up with a smile and slapped Lu Qingqing across the face. Smack! The entire cruise ship lounge seemed to fall silent. Gu Zhai, what are you doing? Louis shoved me away, his eyes red as he held Lu Qingqing. She's just here to see the world. Do you have to be like this? If you're that jealous, then get the hell out. Louis's words were cold and piercing. I clenched my fists, about to speak. Lu Qingqing suddenly burst into tears. Sister-in-law, if you don't like me, I'll leave right now. I'll swim back if I have to. With that, she turned and started walking towards the ship's railing. Qingqing, what are you talking about? You can't swim, don't be ridiculous. As they struggled, I smiled, suddenly hearing sharp, mocking laughter nearby. We're definitely going to win this time. Let's split what Louis bet. I'm going to jerk off to the beautiful Gu Zhai's nudes for 3 days straight. The men whispered among themselves, making my stomach turn. Louis, however, pulled Lu Qingqing back. He grabbed my shoulder, trying to force me to my knees. Gu Zhai, apologize now. I don't want to say it a second time. His voice was hoarse, his eyes cold. I endured the pain in my shoulder and twisted away. He hadn't held back, and his push sent me stumbling. Crash! I fell into the pink cake that had been set up, my hand getting cut by glass. Blood gushed out. Gu Zhai, are you okay? A flicker of concern crossed Louis's eyes, and he reached out to help me up. But behind him, Lu Qingqing suddenly cried out, Louis, I'm being attacked online. I'm so scared. She sobbed hysterically, holding up her phone screen. Under her latest post, countless people who had seen the photo I posted were now cursing her out as a homewrecker. Gu Zhai, you've gone too far. Louis's brow furrowed as he lit a cigarette. The girl was just joking, and you took it seriously. I did promise to give her a reward when she graduated, to fulfill her wish and make her happy. You hit her today, and the comments are attacking her. I'll propose to her as your punishment. With that, Louis took out a ring and got down on one knee. I pushed myself up, my eyes meeting the sight of him proposing affectionately to Lu Qingqing. In my ears, his friends' jeers were relentless. Just wait, Gu Zhai loves Louis so much, she won't be able to take it. The sexy swimsuit we prepared will come in handy soon. Exactly. Everyone in our circle knows Gu Zhai gave up a marriage alliance with the Qi family's young master just to marry Louis. We're in for a good show. As they whispered, my phone buzzed repeatedly. In the group chat, the disgusting messages were multiplying. I turned off my phone, wiped the blood from my palm, and walked over to Louis. Gu Zhai, I told you this was your punishment. Don't even think about stopping me. Louis frowned, a sneer on his lips, but his eyes held a hint of triumph. I let out a soft laugh and took the ring from him, sliding it onto Lu Qingqing's ring finger myself. Louis, you're too slow. Let me help you. Then I took out my phone, opened the group chat, and addressed his friends. The bet you all made is over. It seems I'm the winner. With a light laugh, I enjoyed the colorful expressions on their faces. Behind me, Louis suddenly stood up. Gu Zhai, when did you find out? It's not what you think. I never intended to go through with this stupid bet. But before he could finish, the large screen in the hall suddenly lit up. The agreement from Grandpa Lee was magnified, its contents displayed for all to see. Holy crap, the old man actually left an agreement like this. Is this for real? Would old Mr. Lee screw over his own grandson like that? As long as Gu Zhai signs, all the shares of Shengyu Group go to her. I don't believe it. But it has his personal seal and Uncle Fu's signature. The men argued, their eyes wide with disbelief. Louis slowly turned around. This is impossible, he roared, his hand gripping my wrist tightly. Gu Zhai, where did you forge this agreement? I don't believe Grandpa would do that. I smiled faintly and pointed to Uncle Fu's signature. Louis, have you forgot? My maternal grandfather saved Grandpa Lee's life. You know how much he valued that debt of gratitude. Besides, Grandpa Lee gave me this agreement a year after we were married. Do you remember what you did that year? We went to climb a snow mountain together. You took a call and left in a hurry, leaving me to come down alone. That day I was caught in an avalanche. I almost died. I finished in a low shout, yanking my hand from his grasp. Louis, I truly regret it. I regret not signing this agreement right then and there. My lips curled in a sneer. I was done with this farcical bet. I picked up my phone and called that obsessive man. Qi Yi, come and get me. We can go get our marriage license now. As I finished speaking, Louis snatched the phone from my hand. Gu Zhai, you contacted Qi Yi. How could you contact Qi Yi? Gritting his teeth, Lewis's jaw was clenched tight. He gripped my phone, his other hand on my shoulder as he questioned me harshly. "We're not divorced yet. What right do you have to contact Chi-yi?" Hearing his words, I let out a low laugh. "Louis, did you even read the agreement carefully? The moment I sign my name, our marriage becomes null and void. In other words, we were never married at all." Lewis's eyes turned red, veins popping on his forehead. "Even if the marriage doesn't count, what about the child in your belly? He has my blood, he's my child." I looked down at my slightly protruding belly and pointed to a clause on the big screen. "Louis, the agreement states that if you cheat, the child's parental relationship with you will be severed. She has nothing to do with you." After I spoke, I saw a brief moment of confusion on Lewis's face. The great president of Jingbei's Shengyu group no longer looked arrogant and self-important. Instead, his eyes showed a flicker of regret. I smiled, gently stroking my belly. "Louis, for 3 years I believed you would be a good father, but now you're rotten, you're filthy. So, I've decided to find a new father for my child. I also wish you and Liu Qingqing the best in having your own children. I won't be attending your wedding. My wedding gift is all the money from the bet in the group chat. Consider it a present for your new marriage." I said no more and reached out to pry my phone from his hand. But the next second, a vicious look flashed in Lewis's eyes. He snatched the phone back and threw it into the sea. "Gu Zhai, I, Louis, have never been a good person. Don't even think about leaving me. You, the child, and Shengyu group can only be mine." His eyes bloodshot, Louis turned and gave a low command. "You guys, go find a rope." "Louis, what's the rope for?" someone asked, swallowing nervously. "What for?" "To make sure Gu Zhai can't leave me, of course. Today is our wedding anniversary. I'll make her change her mind." Louis was acting like a madman, tying my hands and feet with the rope. The others were terrified by his expression. "Louis, do we really have to do this? Didn't she call Chi-yi? He's been a psycho since he was a kid. If he finds out we tied up Gu Zhai, who knows what he'll do?" But before the man could finish, Louis cut him off with a sharp yell. "You're afraid of Chi-yi, but you're not afraid of me. Believe it or not, if anyone says another word, I'll throw them into the sea for a close-up view of the sharks." Louis's threat successfully silenced the rich kids. "We were wrong, Louis." They bowed their heads in apology. Louis tied me up and carried me to the sofa. "Gu Zhai, call Chi-yi now. Tell him you've changed your mind." Louis took out his phone, about to dial Chi-yi's number in front of me. "Gu Zhai, believe it or not, I never wanted to divorce you. You should know how big Shengyu is. With so much pressure on me, I didn't want to take my frustrations out on you. So, I had to find someone else." Louis's words disgusted me. I gave him a scornful look, then glanced at the meek Liu Qingqing behind him. "Take out your frustrations. You had so many other ways, but you had to use that filthy thing of yours. Louis, the sight of you now makes me sick." Louis froze, taking a step back. "Watch her, I'm going to talk to the captain." With that, he strode away. "Sister-in-law, how could you talk to Louis like that? What are we going to do if he goes crazy?" The rich kids were trembling with fear. I scoffed and pushed myself into a sitting position. Just then, Liu Qingqing walked over to me. "Gu Zhai, I'll help you contact Chi-yi and let you go. What do you think?" Liu Qingqing whispered. A sickeningly sweet scent wafted from her, and I frowned and turned my head away. But she placed a phone in my hand. "Gu Zhai, I just want Louis all to myself. I'd be thrilled if you left." As she spoke, she suddenly pulled out a pregnancy test report. "I'm already pregnant, it's Louis's. I don't want my child to be a bastard." As Liu Qingqing was speaking, Louis's footsteps suddenly approached. She frantically shoved the phone into my hands. Then she scrambled to her feet. "Louis," she snatched my phone, "she's threatening me. She said if I don't give her the phone, she'll hire people to assault me and get rid of our baby." Liu Qingqing ran over and hugged Louis tightly, crying loudly. "Gu Zhai, are you that desperate?" Louis ignored her mention of a baby and walked over, grabbing my chin. "I told you, don't even think about leaving. Since you're so disobedient, I'll show you the consequences of angering me." With that, Louis dragged me onto the ship's deck. "Bring up the cage." A metal cage was hoisted up by several crew members with hooks. "Gu Zhai, aren't you terrified of sharks? We're about to reach the shark-infested waters. How about I let you down for a closer look?" Below the ship, sharks circled. Their terrifying fins glinted menacingly in the sunlight. "Louis, if you dare do this, I will never forgive you." I screamed, my body trembling uncontrollably. "Scared now? Then call Chi-yi and tell him to get lost. You and the child can only be mine. No one is taking you away." His eyes crimson, Louis pushed me towards the edge of the ship. I fought to hold back my tears, my nails digging into my palms until they bled. "Louis, never." With that, I bit down hard on his neck. Blood filled my mouth, and Louis let out a muffled grunt. He let go of me, clutching his neck as he stumbled back. Gu Zhai, you were actually trying to kill me. You really want me dead. His eyes were red, filled with disbelief. I felt sick. I spat out the blood in my mouth, and just as I was about to speak, Lu Qingqing, her face pale, stumbled towards me. Ah, sister-in-law, watch out. Thud. She pushed me, and I fell, tumbling towards the sharks below. Gu Zhai. In the instant I fell, Louis screamed, his eyes wide with terror as he lunged for me. Nausea washed over me as the feeling of weightlessness took hold. Preparing for the worst, I closed my eyes. But the expected pain never came. Instead, I landed in a warm embrace. Zhizhai, I've got you. This time, does this mean you've really agreed to marry me? Then, don't even think about running away again. Qiyi's sharp features were softened against the light. In that moment between life and death, I wrapped my arms tightly around his neck. Qiyi, I keep my promises. But first, I need to settle the score with Louis and Lu Qingqing. Once we were out of the water, the first thing I did was call the police. As soon as Louis's cruise ship docked, they were taken away by the authorities. That night, I had Uncle Fu publicly release the agreement Grandpa Li had left me. Then, I exposed Lu Qingqing as a homewrecker all over the internet. Her Weibo account was completely flooded. Countless fans cursed her, and her degree from abroad was revoked. After doing all this, I finally relaxed and put down my phone. The next second, my hand was taken. Gu Zhai, marry me. Qiyi was on one knee, holding a ring. His eyes were still fierce and intimidating, but now they held a warmth and a plea. Years ago, when I found out my arranged marriage was with Qiyi, I went to see him in secret. What I saw was him stabbing someone with a knife. Again and again, the blade went in, drawing blood, yet he didn't even blink. I had nightmares for 3 days after that night, and begged my father to break off the engagement. Perhaps the shadow he cast on me was too dark, because I chose to marry Louis, his complete opposite. But facts proved that appearances are never reliable. Louis was polite and refined, but he was a disgusting, rotten madman. Qiyi was wild and intense, but he never made things difficult for me when I broke the engagement. You can know a person's face but not their heart. I was wrong back then. I wiped the tears from my eyes and held out my finger. Qiyi, it's been 3 years. After all this, we're back together again. He slid the ring on my finger, and I smiled, hugging him. The phone on the table suddenly rang. Gu Zhai, we need to talk. It was Louis. His voice was hoarse, thick with exhaustion. Talk? I don't think we have anything to talk about. I hung up, my face cold. The pain and resentment that had filled my heart for days seemed to dissipate. For the first time in a long time, I slept well. Meanwhile, Louis and his group of rich kids were laid out by their elders. Outside the police station, they were cursing and complaining. Louis gripped the phone he'd been hung up on, his expression dark. Suddenly, one of them looked at his phone in shock. Gu Zhai is actually with Qiyi. It's true, Qiyi posted on his social media. Gu Zhai found a new guy that fast. Didn't she love Louis so much? Seeing Louis's face grow darker and darker, the men fell silent. What did you say? Gu Zhai is with Qiyi. Louis strode over and snatched the phone. Qiyi's previously blank social media feed now had one post. She said yes. The post was accompanied by a photo. It was a picture of my hand, a ring on my ring finger, clasped tightly with his. Gu Zhai. Louis gritted out my name. He picked up his own phone, his face grim, and dialed. Sorry, the number you have dialed is switched off. He tried several times, but my phone was off. A sudden panic seized Louis's heart. He ran to car, threw open the door, and sped away. The familiar drive to the villa did little to calm his frantic heart. He pushed open the door, expecting to see me waiting for him with a smile. But beyond the door, there was only cold silence. His fists clenched, Louis ran upstairs and threw open the bedroom door. It was completely empty. Gu Zhai, you really left me. Only in that moment did the reality that I was gone truly hit him. No, I don't accept this. Picking up his phone, Louis called Uncle Fu. Uncle Fu, I don't believe that agreement is real. But before he could finish, Uncle Fu sighed on the other end. Why see, it's been 3 years, and Gu Zhai never once mentioned this agreement. Even that time you left her on the snow mountain, and she almost died. When your grandfather insisted on a divorce, she gently said she wanted to give you another chance. This time, she signed it without hesitation. Only you know what you did to push her to this. The agreement is real, there's no doubt about it. Uncle Fu finished and hung up. Louis stood there, phone in hand, his eyes red. He violently smashed the phone on the floor and slumped to the ground. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. A few days later, however, Uncle Fu arrived with a team of lawyers. YC, the share transfer agreement for Shengyu, is now in effect. All the shares you inherited will be transferred to Gu Zhai. As for other real estate and cash assets, they will be divided according to your divorce settlement. The sooner you sign, the sooner this will be over. Uncle Fu handed the documents to Louis and took a sip of tea. The next second, he frowned and spat the tea out. Who made this? From the kitchen, Lu Qingqing emerged, a fawning smile on her face. Uncle Fu, I made the tea. Don't you like it? A rare look of disgust crossed Uncle Fu's face. Louis, you threw away Gu Zhai for this classless piece of work. Looking at you, you must have been utterly blind, completely out of your mind. Giving up Gu Zhai, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. Then, seeing Louis's pale face, Uncle Fu delivered another blow. Gu Zhai is getting married in a week. That Chi-Yi kid did a good job this time. Much better than you ever were. You can go see for yourself. It might help you finally give up. A week later, Louis, dressed in a suit, arrived at the wedding venue, his face ashen. He hid in the shadows, quietly watching the preparations. Suddenly, the wedding planner rushed past him. Didn't I tell you Mrs. Chi is allergic to mangoes? Mr. Chi reminded you so many times. How could you still get it wrong? Get it changed now. Also, Mrs. Chi doesn't like white flowers. Check the entire venue again and make sure there are no white flowers. The staff hurried away, looking flustered. Louis, however, stood frozen in place. Allergic to mangoes. Doesn't like white flowers. He muttered the words, a sharp pain piercing his heart, because these were things he had never cared about in their 3 years of marriage. And Chi, you remembered every single detail. Louis's face grew even paler, and he could barely stand. Until someone shouted, "The bride is here. She's so beautiful." Following the gasps of admiration, Louis's gaze froze completely. Gu Zhai, why are you smiling so happily? Are you really this happy without me? Louis stared intently at me in my white wedding dress. Suddenly, an image of me 3 years ago, also in a white wedding dress, flashed in his mind. But no matter how hard he tried to remember, he couldn't recall the expression on my face. Bride and groom kiss. Kiss. The crowd below the stage started chanting. A loud ringing filled Louis's ears. His jaw was clenched tight, and he fought the urge to look at the stage. But the large screen in front of him suddenly lit up. Amidst a sea of flowers, Chi gently kissed me. Louis's eyes instantly turned bloodshot. A roar built in his chest, an urge to go up there and destroy everything. The next second, it felt as if all the blood had been drained from his body. The screaming rage was silenced, because he saw in my eyes the familiar look of love and joy. The expression he had seen for 3 years. Something he had taken for granted, seen every day. But now, he had lost it all. Gu Zhai. He whispered my name, and tears streamed down his face. Stumbling out of the bustling wedding venue, Louis was like a walking corpse. Memories of our time together began to flood his mind. The ties I would knot for him every time he went out. The hangover soup I would make for him every time he came home drunk. The breakfast and dinner I would cook for him every day. These scenes played out one by one in his head. Finally, Louis bent over, crying out loud in the middle of the crowd, heedless of his image. Gu Zhai, I was wrong. Gu Zhai, don't leave me. Passers-by looked at him like he was a lunatic and quickly moved away. Louis didn't care. He took out his phone and called his assistant. Come get me. He hung up. At 1 in the morning, Louis stumbled back to the villa, drunk. He leaned against the entryway. The villa was pitch black. Gu Zhai, my head hurts. He called out, striding into the living room. On the sofa, there was a lump under a blanket. His eyes lit up with joy. He walked over cautiously and then hugged the figure tightly. Gu Zhai, I knew you wouldn't leave me. But before he could finish, the woman in his arms moved. She wrapped her arms around him coquettishly. Louis, you're back. As if he'd seen a ghost, Louis violently shoved Lu Qingqing away. Get out. Get out right now. He screamed madly, grabbing Lu Qingqing's arm and throwing her out of the villa. Louis, what are you doing? It's me, Qingqing. Louis, open the door. Outside, Lu Qingqing pounded on the door. Louis loosened his tie and collapsed onto the sofa. He clutched his aching head, opened his phone, and began to search for news about me, until he saw that I was still happy, still joyful. Bang! The phone was slammed onto the living room table. Louis was completely sober now. I was never coming back.